a great weekend for Sonic fans. Hello everyone, I'm OCDsaster and this is OCDsaster Blue, my Sonic exclusive channel where all we do is talk Sonic the Hedgehog. So if that sounds like something your speed, consider subscribing and checking out some other videos after this one. So the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds Open Beta Network test just finished up this weekend. It started on August 29th and ended September 1st. And I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions, and I wanted to go ahead and discuss my initial opinions and thoughts on this. And maybe if you guys want to see a more deep dived, more detailed, analytical video, you can let me know in the comments. First off, I want to mention my experience is from using the Switch 2, and the footage you're going to be seeing on screen is Switch 2 footage. I do not plan to play the official game on the Switch. I want to play it on the PlayStation 5. However, it was Labor Day weekend for the States, meaning that I was on vacation and I didn't feel like carrying my PS5 all the way to the beach, so I took my Switch 2 instead. And honestly, I'm still quite impressed with what I was given with this open beta. So let's just get right into it. The purpose of the open beta is to test the network and server stability for the game and make sure that it can run and operate. If there's any issues technically, or if there's any big bugs, the players can report it to Sega and Sonic Team, along with them just getting that data from people playing the games and, jumping on those servers. So I think this went pretty well, especially from my experience, because I only crashed 2 or 3 times, and they even say at the very beginning when you start up the game, like, hey, this is an open beta, so these things could possibly happen. I was expecting worst, hoping for the best, and I got pretty much the best. I mean, 2 crashes out of the amount of time I played on this. I had to have played at least 5-6 hours of this open beta. And like I said, I was on vacation, so if I wasn't, I probably would have gotten a lot more done. And that's also why this video is taking so long to come out, is that I just got home and now I'm ready to give this to you. But also, you guys are probably doing stuff on your extended weekend as well if you were in the States, so it all just makes sense to have this video released today. And like I said, I only crashed 2 or 3 times. I was overall very impressed with the graphics, even for the Switch 2. Like, I was pretty impressed. It looked pretty nice, and the Switch 2 is like an inferior console, so playing it on the PlayStation 5 is going to be even better, and I honestly cannot wait. Some other quick things that I noticed when just booting up the game is that the intro is slowly growing on me, but only the first part. If you didn't know, I did a video a few weeks back when they released the opening video, or the opening, I should say, theme for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and I said that the lyrics are really cringy, and I just overall did not enjoy it that much. It's still the case. I think the chorus kind of kills it, but that first part, the first few verses, even though the lyrics are a little bit weird, it does give that, Crush 40 vibe, that Sonic energy. And my sister was over for vacation and she heard it and she was like bobbing her head along, and she's a music person, so it just proves that like they started to cook for that song and then it all kind of fell flat. So unfortunately it still doesn't do it for me. Once the chorus hits, I just skip it and just go right into the game. For the Switch 2, there was definitely a delay in starting the game. Once I hit start, it kind of took a second to really activate the menus, which is absolutely fine. I did realize, I don't know if this was just a me thing, if this was everyone, or if it was a Switch 2 thing. When I went online to the lobby, if I wanted to back out and go to the main menu, it would cancel it. So I would hold for the Switch, it was the B button, and it would say canceling, and then it would still throw me into another lobby, and I couldn't actually get out of the online lobby unless I completely closed the game and restart it. That was a bit annoying, so hopefully that will get fixed. That was probably one of the bigger issues that I had, if not really the only issue I had. Guys, this experience was really good. I did a video on the top 5 things I'm excited about for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds and the top 5 concerns, and I can say based off the beta alone, a lot of those concerns have gone away. Now, I did see a comment for one of the concerns where I was like, I felt like the extreme gear would be inferior, and someone said they thought the opposite. They're worried that the extreme gear would be too overpowered, and from what I've played, I think that might be more of the case, is that it's just a smaller hitbox. They are good for like boost capabilities, so we'll have to see when the full game comes out if they're going to be tweaking or balancing things in that regard. But we got a big selection of characters, not the full roster, but they were very gracious to give us some more characters to play out, and they gave us a full Grand Prix to play. We couldn't play any of the other Grand Prix, but that was the only way you could play other stages than the 3 you get in the first cup. You had to go online and race against other people to try out some other racing stages, which I think makes sense. They're trying to lean everyone into the online play, but they still gave people some single-player experiences, such as the World Cup with 3 difficulties unlocked. I think there's a total of 5 difficulties that you can do, and then also they allowed you to do time trials, which I thought was nice, but only for the 3 stages from that first cup. One of my concerns for this game was that the vehicles would not feel right. The weight, the buoyancy of the boats, the flying of the ships, or I should say the planes, and I gotta say, they did an excellent job. It feels like I'm in a cart, or on a hoverboard, or in a boat, or in a plane. They nailed it. I hope they do not change this at all for a launch of game. It actually felt really crisp and really good. The sensitivity is great. The setting options really help you, find that great groove, and I'll do a whole settings video once the full game releases, because there's no point doing it just for the beta, because who knows what they can change. They can change things for the better, they can change things for the worst. Hopefully they really listen to the feedback and leave things the way they are. That worked. But yeah, it just overall felt really good to control, which is nice, especially playing off of the Switch. So like I said, I'm even more excited to play on the PlayStation 5 because it's just more powerful of a system. So it was really, really good. I had a lot of fun, even though I was playing a lot of the same stages offline. It still worked really well. And I'll get on to the online in a real quick sec. I talked about the unlocking system and what I would like to see in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And although we don't get the full picture out of this beta, it is showing that even if we don't unlock characters, which I actually think we will be unlocking characters, but if we do not unlock characters, we're at least unlocking plates and gear. So what does that mean? When you finish a race, you will level up, and once you get through that meter, you get a new plate, which allows you to have an extra slot for gear. And you can unlock different types of gear and gadgets when you level up as well. So that really helps out with the dopamine that I mentioned in my unlocking video, where you are going to be getting some content. Now what I gotta say is, unlocking the plates, I don't know if this was just for the beta, but it was so easy, and I got through all of the plates before I even got any new gadgets and gear. I don't know if that's the intention or if it's going to be more balanced out unlocking. They just wanted to show you what it felt like in the beta, but I would rather be a slower grind to upgrade those plates, but you get more gadgets in between. If that makes sense, I could be talking crazy. Overall, it was very nice. I really appreciated it. Made me feel like I was achieving stuff as I was playing the game. And when you're ranking up, you also get some goodies and bonuses as well, which I'll get into, like I said earlier, the online in a second. But this is really getting me hopeful to a very robust unlocking system in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Hopefully some characters, carts. They didn't give you all the vehicles for all the characters, but what I found very interesting is when you're customizing your cart, which is a very cool feature by the way, they let you do a lot. There's a lot of versatility in what you can do for customizing cars, but they already have preset colors for your favorite characters. So for example, for Jet, they have his board, and then for Storm they have his board, but they didn't have Wave's board. But you can customize the board in a way where you could go in, design a extreme gear board, and then just go over to Wave's preset colors, hit it, and then you have her board essentially. So I think they will actually have her board in the official game, but it's very cool that you can do stuff like that. It really also saves time if you want like a very basic thing, but just with the colors of your favorite character. You can spend money or in-game currency on different things. Now, I didn't really check out the shop. I didn't think I even saw one. I think it was just because of the beta. It was like you could go to the shop and pre-order, but you get these I guess tickets or whatever currency in the game from finishing races and ranking up, and that'll allow you to spend on different, customizable things. It's not like a perk to like beat the game. It's not like a winnable thing. You're not pay to win. You are just paying for like decals and aura, which is like flames, different sounds your horn can make. So I thought that was very cool. That's a slower grind, of course, and they're probably going to eventually have in the final build of the game where you can actually spend real money to get more of those. But once again, it's not pay to win, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion, and you can still grind it out by just playing the game. At first, I thought I was going to hate the gadget system, but I'm actually really intrigued by it. I haven't really found my fit yet, but it is cool to have preset loadouts that you can do with different capabilities. I kind of made each of my slots different. Like one is like fully attack, another is fully defense. I have one that's just to generate rings as quickly as possible, and I just think that's a cool little feature, and there's going to be a lot of experimenting with it as long as nothing's broken. I didn't see anything really broken in the game from my perspective, but once again, I only played enough to get to rank D, and that was pretty much as far as I went. Or D+, I can't quite remember at this point. But you go into online, you jump into a lobby, which was fairly quick. It still took a few minutes to get into a lobby, but that's fine. You go into a lobby, you select which course you want, it randomizes it, and then you are off to the races. And it's just the way you think. It's just the gameplay that they showed, where you're racing each lap. You do one lap, then the second lap, whoever's in first gets to pick what course you're going to. Or I should say, right when you're about to finish lap 1, whoever's in first gets to pick through the travel ring which world or track, I should say, you're going to next. Sometimes it's just another track. It's not always going to be like the dinosaur variant, the lava. I really like the casino one, the roulette one, but sometimes it just takes you to a different course, a different stage, which I also think is kind of cool. And then the third lap, you're back to your regular course to finish out the race. It works effortlessly, which is something that I wasn't really concerned about because it's the main mechanic of the game. So they were, of course, going to make sure that worked as well as possible before launching. And it works great. It works seamlessly. I didn't see any glitches or errors with it. It's pretty fun and pretty hype to try to get to that first place to get the travel ring. Now, what I do have to say is when you're racing, especially online, the power-ups are crazy. It's a hectic fight out there. There's no iconic items like in Mario Kart, but that's not to be expected, and I'm not trying to compare this to Mario Kart that much even. I just think a lot of the items are a little bit sporadic and they're kind of hard to see in the mix of it all. I couldn't understand what all of them did. The tutorial that you get at the very beginning was very basic, did not show you a lot. So that's something that I hope they improve on a little bit when the full game comes out. What I was realizing was the King Boom Boo is like their equivalent of Boo, but he's the boss in Sonic Adventure 2 when you play as Knuckles. He's basically the blue shell, if you want to compare it to Mario Kart, and he's like attacks who's ever in first and then leaves like a trail behind. I kept getting him every time I was in first. Like every time I finally nabbed first, he would hit me and it would knock me back and I would just drop to 4th place. And I'm still very bitter about it, because I could never recover from it. Like once I got hit from him, I could never get back to that first placement. It might be a skill issue, I don't know. I was ranking in 4th and 5th on average out of 12, and then as I ranked up into the D tier, I started to get more second places. Basically, you rank up by just competing in races and getting points. You get points based off of doing certain things. Your placement is the most important, but then after that, you get a little bonuses here and there with that currency I was talking about, whether if you're the person that picks up the most items, you do the most tricks, you kept the lead the longest. These are little things that you get bonus perks for, along with those red rings across the track. but your placement will determine your rank and how fast you move up. And it's all grade rated, so you start at E minus, then you go to E, then you go to E plus, and then, or is it E minus? Yeah, E minus, E plus, then you go to D minus, D plus, D. Yeah, you get the picture. And that basically determines, where you're racing. You're going to be racing people within that letter grade system. And so far, I haven't seen an issue, but that's one of my biggest concerns once the game launches, is a lot of people are going to be smurfing, and it's going to be really tough online to keep up with that. And so that's just something that I'm going to be looking out for, because people are good. There are bots. I realized when you finish a race, if you look at the report at the end, you can tell how many people were real and how many people were bots. And to be honest, that's not really a big deal to me. I think it's better just to keep having the lobby get filled and keep getting into a race. But it is interesting to see that. At least I believe that's the case, because a lot of the characters were like grayed out on my screen. But it is hectic online. There's items flying everywhere. You're never going to know what happens. It's adrenaline pumping, but it is fun. And that's the most important part, is that it's fun. Even though I wasn't guaranteeing first place, even though I was staying in like 4th and 5th place, I was having fun the entire time. And it just kept me wanting to play more. I did have those 2 internet connection errors, not internet connection, server errors, but besides that, and not being able to exit back out to the main menu, those were the only real issues I had with the open beta. All in all, I had tons of fun. I think the character selection was fine for a beta. They gave you enough to play with. I really didn't have any care for Joker. It is weird that the, other characters that are non-Sonic related are not going to be voiced. I understand why they're making that decision, but it is a little bit weird compared to everybody else. Some other things I forgot to mention: drifting feels really nice. Doing tricks feels really good. The rivalry is a really nice mechanic. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It's not the most hype thing ever, but it is cool to have these characters have interactions with one another. And sometimes you can pick a higher level rival to go against, and if you beat them, you get bigger bonuses, which I think is cool, and it just adds a little bit more diversity to the game. And that's for when you do cups, not when you do online. I think it's a really nice feature. I don't think it, adds like a lot of stuff to the game, but it also doesn't take anything away from it. But also, that's going to be limited based on the Sonic characters. You're not going to have rivalries with people that can't speak, because that's just going to be weird. Some of them have really good voice lines and really good comebacks. Some of them are just kind of generic, but it is pretty cool to see as you get ready for a race to get started. And that's pretty much all I have. I know I said this is just going to be my initial thoughts, and I kind of like broke it down a lot. But if you really want me to be analytical, really want me to do a super deep dive, you can let me know down in the comments. But this was my thoughts on Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, the open beta. I had a blast. It was so much fun. I barely had any issues with it, and it's making me very hyped and very excited for the actual game, which I think is what they were trying to do. The characters feel nice, the controls feel nice. It's hectic, but in a fun way, and I can't wait to see what the full game has to offer. The only thing that I thought was kind of scummy was after I finished a race for the first time, every time I booted up the game, it would say, pre-order in process. Do you want to go to the Nintendo eShop to continue? And I was like, you sneaky little... I know you want us to get the pre-order to the game, but there was no pre-order in process. I never initiated that. You're trying to make it seem like there was already something going on and I should just finish it up as a checklist. That's a little bit scummy in my opinion, because I'm not pre-ordering it for the Switch. I'm pre-ordering it for the PS5. So that was a little bit of a no-no in my opinion. A little bit of a sneaky corporate thing where you just hit, accept by accident as you're mashing through. So just be mindful of that. That wasn't that great. That was a little bit icky. But besides that, I had so much fun. It was such a great experience. I was very shocked at the quality of the game. I would have liked to play more tracks, but of course, you gotta pay for the game to actually get the full experience, all the characters. I'm excited. What about you guys? Did you try out the beta this weekend? Did you have any issues connecting with the servers? Did you have fun playing? Did you not like it? I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions down below, and if you stayed to the end of the video, thank you so much for your time and support, and be sure to check out some other videos after this one. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya!